friend.
We got rumors. Y'all ready for rumors? Battlegrounds.
I was like, I've done enough of these stupid little sound bites. I'm not doing it this time. And Garrett, thank you.
I hope you enjoy it.
Do you all normally have a soundboard? Is it broken?
We do both.
Yep, a little bit of column A, a little bit of column
Actually,
B.
folks don't know this because we're so consistent, but all of our bumpers are actually performed live in real time.
I assume you're just a really talented beatboxer going for like a down-tempo look going into these other sections.
Pretty much. But so we've made mention of the 8-player lobby for it's come up multiple times over the past couple episodes of the Angry Chicken. It has been confirmed that it is something that is in development. This was confirmed all the way back in March by Ixar via an interview that he had with Hearthstone. And so we still haven't had any official news on when the heck it is coming. But now the Twitter account for the Hearthstone companion app Firestone has tweeted that references to a new friendly Battlegrounds game mode can now be found in the game's code. And you're thinking to yourself, that's not news. We know an 8-player mode's being worked on. They call it friendly. Cool. Way to really scrape the bottom of the barrel for some news. And I say, nay. Also found in this code are references to a 4-player, quote, member count that has many speculating that it will be able to head into the Battlegrounds ladder in a 4-stack instead of just 2. What do you think of this? Joss, you wanna grab Ridiculous Hat and I don't know, Slissa and like 4-stack into a game of Battlegrounds and just run the table because we're on voice chat and clearly cheating because it's just like, what are you going? I'm not going to draft that. Okay, because it's Battlegrounds and you wouldn't, be offered nothing but Murlocs when you try and deploy a strategy like that.
It's interesting because like 4 players can definitely impact a lobby a whole lot more than just 2 players, right? Especially with the restricted tribe world that we live in now. So this would definitely worry me that I would be going into, like, as a solo queue person, I would be going into a lobby and it's basically like a 4v1, and they can much easier. It's much easier for them to manipulate it. Now, it's kind of interesting because on the one hand, you can already see what your opponent is working on, right? You can already see like demons, murlocs, beasts, mechs, whatever. That's built into the client. But I think there's something to be said, especially in a meta where there's more than one viable build of each different minion type. I think it's very important to have, or like it's important to know, but also it's random with depending on who you're facing. Like there's so much more information available to you if you're on voice with everybody and you can say, I'm drafting big demons, I'm drafting juggler demons, I'm drafting, this, that, and the other thing, and letting people actually know what your play style is. Like that's just so much more information. And you can change things around, like we've seen in the Battlegrounds Brawl a few weeks ago. You can change around your positioning if you see you're facing off against a teammate, which then could, if you've got a teammate who's Rafam, that can make a big difference. If you're trying to get as close to a tie as you possibly can against your teammate, then you would change your positioning around in order to try to guarantee that as much as you possibly could.
Yeah, varying degrees of success.
Yeah, exactly. But like you're basically trying to level the playing field and keep your teammates in the lobby as long as you possibly can. And that totally changes the way things in Battlegrounds work, right? And you also, because half of the members of the Battleground are going to be in, like, on your team, call it, like, are people that you want to keep in there, that also means you're going to queue into your team like twice as often as you would if there was only one other person, right? There's just a higher probability that you will queue into someone who is on your team. So I feel like this almost guarantees a win for the majority of your, I would be surprised. You'd have to get a pretty terrible draft and some pretty crappy like matchups in order to get knocked out if you're playing in a 4-player lobby, like knocked out without a win. So then it seems like this could be very easily abused to boost up MMRs. Now, MMR doesn't really mean anything. There's no money tied to this mode. Like, high MMRs is just a flex. So, you know, who really cares? But
it would be a lot easier and, well, possible in any way, shape, or form to do a community Battlegrounds event and maybe even seed it via leaderboards. You know, if the people that are playing are on the leaderboards, once 8-player lobbies hit, but like
true, yeah, because 8-player lobbies are kind of like how we expect the community to be able to create tournaments and for us to have our own events and not have to rely on Blizzard doing a brawl every 3 to 4 months. Like, this is the way for us to actually create a competitive tournament battleground scene, which I think is really interesting and could be fun and cool. And I do really enjoy watching, like, Battlegrounds is really enjoyable for me to watch on Twitch, whether it's just one person playing or whether it's these tournaments. So I think there's a market there for that kind of content, and I'm excited to see it being created. But, you know, like, when we're talking about like these 4-player lobbies, and you're right, like, if I'm going to make a tournament and if I'm going to seed a tournament, then what am I going to use? I'm probably going to use MMR. But then again, like, that's all community stuff. Does Blizzard really care? I don't know, because Blizzard doesn't support that kind of a competitive space currently in this mode.
I would wonder if they would do up to 4 people if MMR just wasn't a thing. Like, if you played with a certain number of people in your party, MMR was just,
won't change.
It didn't. Yeah. But also it would question, would that be for you or for everybody? Are you able to just join with the party and invalidate people's ability to move? Because that also wouldn't really work all that great.
Oh, people would be furious. There's no way.
Oh, yeah, no.
That would be...
But okay, so if you took Slissa and us in a lobby, I think we can generally say Slissa is better than us, right?
Yes.
Her MMR is
by much
13K, right?
Yeah,
last I saw, yeah, she switches between accounts, but yeah, it's up there. Both of them
all
are
of
up
her
there.
accounts are like 3 times my MMR score, so
they're quite high.
If you had a single MMR outlier and you had 4 people, how would you even find a match through that? And who would it be fair for in the other party? The only way I can see this making sense is if you were queuing a 4-stack into a different 4-stack, right? It was 4 on 4.
But if the way Battlegrounds is talked about, especially when things like the Tavern Pass are invoked, it seems to me like Battlegrounds is a runaway freaking success in terms of player numbers. So I do think it would be possible to put the restriction of only being able to queue against other 4-stacks in there. Now, only queuing against other 4-stacks and finding an MMR average between the 4 people that queued up, that becomes a bigger ask. But
so maybe it's just maybe it's a no MMR mode. Maybe that's something that they're potentially looking at, which I think that even just calling this thing like friendly Battlegrounds, like, maybe it's all part of a bigger update to Battlegrounds that involves, you know, the ability to create a full 8-man lobby, the ability to go into a mode where your MMR isn't at risk and you can practice things, and you can do that with 1 to 4 players. And then you have your typical MMR, like, rated battleground area, which is what we traditionally think of as Battlegrounds mode as it exists right now.
Yeah.
Like, maybe we're looking at a 3-pronged approach to it. What I kind of take from this, or like that I haven't seen necessarily a whole lot of people talking about, is the fact that it's referenced as the friendly Battlegrounds like game mode. Is this the new game mode, or are we still expecting something else on top of it? Like we've talked about, you know, I guess technically they've hinted at it using our collection, so maybe we are getting something else. Yeah, like,
there's no way.
I'm kind of, as I'm talking about it, I'm talking kind of around it, but I'm like, are we getting this as the game mode in phase 2, and then the collection game modes coming like at the end of the year in phase 3? Like,
no, because every time that there have been interviews where the game mode has been brought up and the using your collection thing has been the answer given to the game mode, and they're specifically talking about the icon on the roadmap under phase 2.
Okay, no, I'm just curious because I mean, like as we've talked about already on the show today, there has been, like this year, guys, this year is just effed up. All right, so maybe when we put out a roadmap, maybe they weren't thinking, we were going to have this crazy upending. Yeah, like maybe there was a new mode that was like spell locked, and they thought that things were going to come out and things can change.
Oh, I thought it was
going to. I think
I was going to go.
One of
the spell locked icons is surprised 4 more months of COVID.
Josh, I'm going to get bumper stickers made up. 2020, this year is effed up. And just put it in the car, which I don't drive anymore because who goes anywhere?
Right.
Yeah. Though,
I bought a car in January and it has barely moved.
Especially with HelloFresh.com/80tac.
Oh God! Yeah,
I'm impressed. That was a smooth sponsor plug right there. And I'll also be impressed if the Hearthstone team manages to put this mode in the game, whatever form it takes, to be able to get 8 players in the lobby. You could definitely run tournaments on this mode. So tournament mode is confirmed coming to Hearthstone this year.
Yeah,
you heard it here on tap.
Not for the mode that we thought.
Yeah. I'm pretty skeptical about this for all of the reasons you just mentioned. I think there could be, there's ways to do it. I'm skeptical of 4 stacks in general. I'm skeptical of them adding sub ways to play Battlegrounds under the Battlegrounds tab. Yes, we do have sub options in other ways to play, but historically, Hearthstone has been loath to overcomplicate their UI.
Yeah.
Doesn't say it hasn't happened before. It definitely 100% has. But that my brain tends to shy away from things like that. And so if this is a thing, I tend to think that they're probably just programming it to matchmake you against another 4 stack. And maybe even warn you, a little pop up, just like, boop, warning, this way madness lies. Like you may be matched against people who are way better than you, but you brought it on yourself by 4 stacking. Which I would be okay with. It'd be kind of fun. Like it'd be kind of a fun thing to do from time to time. Also, it'd be kind of fun to convince all of my friends to get a European account, and we'll just 4 stack on that one, and maybe not care so much about our MMR over there.
Crazy matchmaking, yeah. So one more question here. We've got a feature in the 8-player lobbies that has been confirmed and talked about since March. We've got references to a 4-player member count, which may or may not be a change to the way that we play ladder within Battlegrounds. Do we think that the combination of friendly Battlegrounds / 8-player lobbies, whatever you want to call it, on top of this 4-player member count, could this be the last major thing they add to Battlegrounds before it stops being a beta?
Ooh.
Because this has been in beta for a while now.
I like that a lot.
That's a big question. Yeah.
I like that a lot. And also, like, in compliments of the mode, it feels done. Like, you know what? The first thing, the only thing that immediately pops in my brain as an issue is, like, the shadow of the rope. Of technically a fuse, but we've called it a rope for so long. The shadow that
so much more than it should. Like, it doesn't matter.
Shoots out to the right, like, and it mirrors that like, oh, you know what, that and pirate comps do that weird animation hitch once they get the buffer on board.
Oh yeah, like they start to attack and then they go, oh.
Yeah, that and the fuse shadow extending out into infinitum. Are the only things that really stick out to me is like kind of janky, and by basically every other game studio's standards, that would be a shipped product. So, including other Blizzard games like Warcraft 3 Reforged. It feels ready. Like they figured out their cadence. The second time that word will be brought up today, but this isn't a Heroes of the Storm show, so I don't need to shed a tear. They figured out the cadence of updates for the mode. I think it's pretty damn good. I think it's in a healthy place. And when it usually right about the time it starts to get boring, that's when an update hits. We have expectations now for how Battlegrounds progresses. So to me, like, it doesn't feel like a beta anymore. Like just by my own, like you talked about field being really important in standard and in meta and where you want the game to go. It's important in Battlegrounds as well. It feels finished to me. So yeah, I think that might be it. That might be the point where we arbitrarily take off the beta sticker.
Yeah, don't worry, Blizz. We're calling it for you. Once you get this out there, just rip off that beta Band-Aid.
That's what they were waiting for. I talked to Celestalon the other night, and he was like, "Hey, are we allowed to say that it's not beta anymore?" And I was like, "I think I speak for Jocelyn and Hearthstone players as a whole when I say yes."
The only thing that I think they could add that I don't know if they will add, and I think this would be a positive thing, but it might not, is a ranked system. They could have a ranked system, because I also don't know if the raw MMR number as an indicator of your performance in the game is necessarily all that helpful, but I also don't know how they translate it into a ranked system, because we have that in standard, and I think that system has some ups and downs to it.
I liked seeing my MMR personally, and I think we talked about this a little bit. Yeah, when we first were talking about the rank changes, I like seeing the little changes to my MMR based on who's in my lobby and what's going on. And even though the overall number may not have any kind of higher meaning to it, like bronze, silver, gold, plat, whatever, I actually kind of like it better. I'm pretty attached to my number. I don't want them to replace it with any sort of ladder system. I like seeing it, because then I can relate to it, and I know, I can see the changes and I can gauge my lobbies, and I like that. What to me feels like an added layer of information, right? So I like it. I don't want to see it go away. I don't want it hidden like it is in standard. It makes me sad in standard.
Yeah, like even if they go to a bronze through diamond system, I hope they retain a number somehow. Like just keep the number, and then just I don't know,
put a star on top of it.
An easier to explain. Yeah, an easier to explain rank above it. Range X number through X number falls into this parameter. Because the number itself doesn't mean as much to me, but I like, as you said, Joss, I like at the end of the game seeing the really granular numbers there's something about it that I like. Although really at the end of the day, I think I like more that it hasn't reset, and there's got to be a reset coming, right? But
when they take it out of beta, probably. But the MMR is a very personal number. I think the real advantage of some kind of ranked identifier, and it could just be show the MMR and then at certain tiers it levels up, is just a reward system. Because right now, playing Battlegrounds, you don't get rewards the same way you do in standard. And 10 gold every 3 games is 20 minutes in standard and 90 minutes in BGs. Well, it's only fast in BGs if you're losing a lot, and then you don't get the 10 gold for every 3 wins.
Thank you for reminding me you got anything from Battlegrounds.
Right.
Yeah.
I forgot.
There's some opportunity there for wins to correspond to some level of gold, or there could be some reward every so often, or just more Battleground specific quests. Maybe there's an option maybe they change the reroll button, that you can re-roll a construction quest into a BG quest, or the other way around. Now, that adds more buttons, and like you said, Garrett, they don't like adding extra buttons. It's really all about simplicity. But if you're a Battlegrounds-only player, a Battlegrounds-specific player, and you get a bunch of quests to play Standard or Wild, they just sit there, and you just re-roll them and hope you play 2 BGs. So
it's almost as ridiculous as getting an arena ticket when I buy a tavern pass.
Yeah. Man. So
basically, the point that we've kind of come around to is maybe this isn't the last thing that they need to change and address before they come out of beta. Maybe there's still more work to be done on Battlegrounds, which is cool because, more work, more patches, more coverage. Love it.
Yeah, I guess a lot of this I would file under things I could see them wanting versus things I want, because I really like it as is. I think it's good enough. Yeah. Clearly, I put a lot of hours into it, but it could be polished more for sure. So you mentioning rewards, I think that might be the holdout. Actually, now that you bring it up, that's probably going to be the holdout for getting rid of the beta sticker.